I heard you say this, and I kind of hesitated yesterday that Florida State belonged, and you could see it by that. And I kind of balked at that because I was taking into consideration the entire field. But certainly with Alabama, that case can be made after watching that game that, yes, Florida State could have gone out there and done similar to what Jalen Milroe did if Tate Rodemaker was playing.
I'm just, like, that's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know if they win, but, like, Michigan is not trying to score 50 points.
Right, exactly.
Like, they're not trying to do that.
If you played Washington, different story.
Yeah, I know. So, like, if you're, like, to me, the argument was, like, just based on what the committee, the line of bullshit that they fed was, okay, it's about Jordan Travis not being there, and it's about the 4 best teams.
Yes.
So if he's not there, that makes them not one of the 4 best teams.
Yes.
Well, the quarterback who's on the team that you selected to go in over them threw for 116 yards. And even though he had some great moments, this year, like, it isn't about the whole body of work, like all those other things that they say. Well, you're telling me that Tate Rodemaker couldn't have gone and thrown for 116 yards and that Florida State's defense couldn't have held Michigan in check the way that Alabama's defense did? I mean, like, again, Michigan is not like – Michigan provides no offensive threats. And I'm not knocking Michigan, but, like, the way their scheme is, they're trying to beat you into a pulp. And they did that really well with Alabama. And I'm not saying they would not have done that with FSU, but, like, as far as the committee's argument for Alabama over Florida State, Alabama did nothing in that game to show that one player. And again, if you're like, I'm not even looking. If you're in the chat room right now trying to compare what happened in the Orange Bowl, shut up. It's not the same thing. But if you're talking about one player making that much of a difference, well, the guy who's the one player for Alabama made no difference in the game. And it shocked me because Michigan's such a good job of taking out his improvisation. But bottom line is, like, okay, like, that was your argument. And look, I know your point about it was right. The games were good, but I think
the endings were great.
Yeah. The way the endings happened, the games were good, but I'm just telling you, if it's Michigan and Florida State, I think you're getting pretty much the same game you got.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, yeah, definitely. I mean, Florida State would have had their full complement of players. That's why it's silly to sit there and say, well, look at what happened in the bowl game. Yeah, because that was a bunch of guys who had checked out and decided not to play. But, yeah, all of the guys who had elected to declare for the draft are most likely playing against Michigan in that scenario. So, yeah, it would have been a different story than Georgia. But then, the Georgia question, should Georgia have been in the playoff based on their showing? I mean, and so that's why you get back into the whole who deserved it and who didn't or not. But I think you had a valid point of if the whole thing was about the quarterback spot, then you go see what Jalen Milroe and Alabama did, then, yeah, it doesn't really hold up very well when you start looking at Florida State and going, okay, why did they not get in? And so I don't recall who it was because there's just a flurry of different tweets. But so now Alabama's a 2-loss team and Florida State's still just only a 1-loss team. And, it's just kind of weird how that worked out and really kind of messed up. But, they had their explanation and we went over that at the time.
So is Texas now.
Texas is as well, and yeah, they both got cracks at the title, and then Florida State didn't, and that's going to continue to be a thing for years and years to come, I'm sure. But yeah, that was just something from yesterday that stuck with me, and they're the ones that have to sleep at night, but I'm sure they're still sleeping nice and sound on their $500 pillows or whatever.
And look, again, we don't know what would have happened. I'm just saying that based on the reasons given,
right,
and what actually happened in that game, I don't think it would have been much different.
Yeah.
Does Michigan still win 27-20 in overtime? Maybe. I mean, but look, this was a game that was 20-20 at the end of regulation. So it's not like it was 40-40. I mean, this was not an offensive, fire show. This was just how it was. So anyway,